it up to the president. How did we get to this point? Did SOA just decide, last year that we were going to come out with all of this new stuff and make lots of slides and give everybody a lot more stuff to do? No, that's not the case at all. And in fact, it's rooted in the members' constant call for do something for us. We are a member of your organization. You're there to provide us with value. You're there to help us. We need a national, international speaking voice to help us in dealing with our management. We're not feeling the value. We're not feeling the love like we should be. But you're big enough that you can be speaking to people and doing things to help us, to bolster our image in the profession. And since it is a centennial, which is a big part of the reason why all this stuff is coming out at this point, because the centennial is a perfect time to not only look backwards at all of the great accomplishments that we've had over the last 100 years, started with John Dana, but also look forward, anxiously looking forward to the next 100 years, and knowing that the next 100 years, the next 10 years, is not going to be the same as what we've seen in the past. So the big difference between us and this building that we're in is that we are focused, we special librarians and special libraries are focused on continual evolution. That we are not about gathering the current awareness of the public library, gathering information type function necessarily. That we should be continually changing ourselves as a special library. What the heck is a lima? We are trying, the profession, and I should also say that we're all volunteers here. We have we've gotten slides and fact sheets and stuff that the alignment project has made available to us, but we haven't been thrown into a dark room and brainwashed and given a set of speaking talking points. And hopefully you'll see that, for better or for worse, that we have 5 different messages here, but they're all roughly pointing in the same direction. And that we, as you heard, that we have seen a lot, and coming from our different backgrounds, we see things that make sense going forward. So the alignment is looking at what we are, what we do, and what we deliver as a profession, and being able to communicate that to the people that we need to, whether it be are the people that we're serving or the people that we're reporting to. Why should we align? You heard from Mary, and all of you could tell stories about there's a lot of stuff happening to the profession. There's lots of people losing their jobs. The value of the profession is not fully understood by those that are hiring people. The field is growing to include a wider range of career tracks. I'm just looking at the 5 that we have here. We need to make sure that we are aligning what we do in our libraries and information centers to what our organization is doing. Doing what we did 20 years ago is not going to cut it today. We need to make sure that because in most cases the organizations that we're reporting to are doing things differently than they were 20 years ago. We need to keep up with that and keep providing value. And the last point, that we need to change the way we talk about ourselves to make sure that we make the most sense to people. And how many times have you been to an event, whether it's a SLA conference or other conference, where someone comes up and they're a keynote speaker or a big speaker, and they're asked to talk in front of a bunch of librarians, and what's their story? Their initial story is, I remember as a kid going to the public library. And I'm not generating public libraries. They have a great role, and we should support them. But that's not what I do. That's not where I work, and that doesn't get to what we're trying to show in terms of value, because we're not doing story time unless you're in like a military library or something like that on a base, and that's another part of the great diversity that we have, is we have every type of library underneath that special library umbrella. But are we able to provide that value, or are we getting caught in the fog of the traditional labels that are put with that? So with the alignment, the goal of the effort was to look at the value of the professionals, to create a communication framework for the professionals. So make sure that we're using the right words and we're using them in the right way that put us in the best light possible. That that SLA is our advocate, that they're able to speak on our behalf and do things like the full page announcement in Wall Street Journal stuff to help show the value of us as professionals and of the profession. How can we do that in different ways? And what kept running into was using the package that we already have of Special Libraries Association. Was that causing a hurdle? Was that causing barriers to what we were trying to do? So back in 2000, SLA started some branding research to try and figure out how to best position themselves and us as a profession. That resulted in a June 2003 branding and name change vote in New York, which has been all over the emails and stuff lately. But that was 2003. And that was a result of trying to position the organization to make sure that we are communicating value as best way possible. There was a positive vote for name change, but there wasn't a 2/3 vote to change the bylaws, to change the name of the organization. Around that same time, Janice LaChance became our CEO, and the board recognized that before doing more with this, they needed more information. And the Centennial provided a perfect opportunity to be able to do that research, and as I said at the beginning, not only look back, but look forward and start to work to position our profession and our association in a way that ensures that we will be there in the future and be available. And even, and I don't know if we have the slide for this or not, but even Johnstown Dana wasn't sure about the name. It was a placeholder. And if you've gotten to read the history of SLA or been to some of the other presentations, there were arguments between the librarians and the documentalists as to what our professional name should be, not just the association. So in 2006, the board approved to start the alignment project, and as you can see, it took a while to do. Futures Andy Hines, Outsell, and Fleshman Hillard were charged with working on that effort and to really get a good context of where the association is and where our profession is. In 2008, at the annual meeting in January, the preliminary research findings were put out. And then in spring, there were some focus groups to kind of test out and see what the responses were to things. June 2008, Fleshman Hillard formally presented at the annual conference. This past January, the final report was issued, and in June, alignment was once again presented at the annual conference. And as a result of that, as more and more people got to see the results of the alignment, and one of the clear findings was that the phrase special librarian and special libraries and librarian had a rich historical context to it, but it didn't line up with where we are as a profession. So proposed names were tested, and then the name change vote has been announced and will